Hey everyone, welcome to the first community call of 2022. We can wait for maybe just a minute and then kick things off. We'll have both Eric and Albert participate, and I can help moderate at the beginning, maybe asking questions for the first 15 minutes or so, and then I'll open things up to the rest of you guys. Um, so just going over rules for the first 15 minutes, we'll just go over popular questions that have been asked by the community, and then afterwards, any of you can request to speak by clicking the button that says raise hand below, and you'll be invited up to speak and ask your questions. Cool. We can just get started right now. Eric, are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, sounds good. So I guess to kick things off, the Injected Mainnet launched just 2 months ago. It'd be great if you could share some stats with us and your thoughts on the milestones that were achieved so far.
Yeah. So when Injective launched Canonical Chain around November, the growth has been absolutely staggering. We've seen a tremendous growth in trading volume, transaction count, and also overall protocol key level metrics. Number one is that Injective so far has $3.45 billion in trading volume cumulative. And that's been absolutely staggering because this is currently the fastest growing exchange protocol or DEX within any ecosystem. And since 7 million blocks has been produced, there's 21 million transactions, which is also an extremely impressive growth metric because this is absolutely the highest growth number compared to any other Cosmos chain or any other L1s. And obviously, for some of the key metrics, over $1 million worth of INJ has been burned. And within next week, we're also going to see another one coming up very, very soon. Obviously, Injective is one of the largest Cosmos IBC users with one of the more unique use types by directly requesting arbitrary data and Oracle data from Band. And there's currently 5 relayers deployed on Injective. So far, I would like to congratulate everyone within the Injective ecosystem for all of these impressive metrics. And regardless of the market, I think this is all something to really be excited about.
Yeah, that sounds good. Albert, did you want to chime in with anything, or I can keep going?
Yeah, I think Eric covered most of it. You can keep going.
Yeah, sounds good. There's actually a mainnet upgrade happening today, and it'd be great to get some details on it because the mainnet that was released just 2 months ago has gone through a number of different upgrades, but this one is meant to change some of the Astro reward metrics and also some mechanisms to prevent malicious trading. So it'd be great to learn a bit more in depth.
Sure. I can go over this. So the main changes in this upgrade are the introduction of vesting for rewards. So previously, the trade and earn rewards at the end of each epoch, which was every week, the rewards would be sent automatically from the chain to all of the users, all the traders. But now, obviously, the community had stated that there's a lot of wash trading going on, and we actually even saw like the wash trading getting concentrated towards the last 2 days of the epoch, because then they knew, because although we had the ability to adjust or zero out the trading rewards that wash traders would have gotten, that has to go through governance, right? So these wash traders were savvy enough to do it more towards the end of the epoch. So this new change actually allows us to vest the rewards for 1 week, which can be, of course, adjusted also by governments. And during that time, the community can discuss on a governance forum on which addresses should be penalized. And we're also working on improving the detection of which addresses are engaging in wash trading so that we can, have a more informed, data-driven view of who to, vote out for the incentives.
Yeah. And on top of that, it's also making this mechanism overall future-proof and in response to have, any type of community demand during that epoch period. So basically, for example, the community right now, I think there's some discussion around disabling DMMs from receiving trade and earn reward. And by having this vesting period, it's also possible to kind of test out the impact of disabling trade and earn reward for DMMs and whatever that may come in the future. So overall, this is a very much of a robust feature so that the community can actually review and adjust some of the epoch rewards to either overly or under reward certain addresses.
Yeah, sounds good. So shifting gears a bit, I think it's been hinted at once or twice that Injective Bridge V2 will be released this week. It'd be great to get some details on what that would actually entail and how it's maybe different from the initial Peggy bridge that was deployed a couple months ago.
Sure. I mean, we also have Boyan on the call, who's the main developer for this. Boyan, if you want to describe it, let me see if I can invite you. Or maybe Mirza, you can. I don't know how to invite Boyan.
Vivian, do you want to invite Boyan up to the
Yeah,
stage?
I've already invited him.
Yeah, Boyan.
Okay.
Or you guys can get started if you want.
Yeah. I mean, basically, I think, first of all, on a high level, cross-chain bridging is a bit, especially through IBC, is not intuitive. I mean, there's many details like channel IDs and connections, etc., that we abstracted away, but we still found that it was a bit confusing. And now with our V2 bridge, we've made the UX and UI much more simple and clean, and also providing you a lot more intermediate data of what is happening and when. Even for our bridge on Ethereum, you would just currently bridge over and not have any indication of how long it would take, or what kind of were the steps being in the intermediary that are being done to get your tokens bridged over. And that could often be a very scary experience, right? So just providing a lot more data on what is going on behind the scenes to the users, being more transparent about fees, etc., and also just providing a much better UX to make the onboarding experience much more smooth.
Sounds good. Eric, did you want to add on anything else?
Yeah. Along with the Bridge V2 release, very, very quickly after, there will also be a very nice feature where users can choose to pay in either the native token INJ or the assets being bridged out for the fees of withdrawal. So this allows more flexibility, and obviously paying with a native token can have a certain discount depending on the relayer for bridging out.
Yeah, pretty exciting stuff. So we'll look forward to seeing it in the next couple of days. I think recently it was said that CosmWasm was added to the Injective testnet. I think the community is still sort of not sure about what CosmWasm actually entails, or even how smart contracts on Injective would operate or help the ecosystem. So it'd be great to get some insight on it and what we can expect from the CosmWasm layer.
Yeah, sure. I can talk a lot about this actually. So, currently right now, the main application of Injective, which is derivatives exchange, is not implemented through smart contracts, but rather through native module code. As a custom module like running on the Cosmos SDK. But the downside of this is that while it does give us tremendous amount of performance customizability, it limits us to having to do these on-chain upgrades, which are quite labor intensive and a bit painful to do, right? Whereas smart contracts more generally provide the ability for people to permissionlessly deploy contracts, which can then interact and interoperate with other contracts and have a more composable experience, right? Not a very custom tailored experience. So CosmWasm is the native smart contract framework used on Cosmos SDK based chains, which we are integrating. And we're not just integrating it for the sake of integrating it. We're integrating it right now with a very interesting cornerstone application in place to dramatically improve the liquidity on our protocol. And I've hinted at this a bit in the Telegram groups publicly, but the basic idea is to enable passive liquidity provision on our limit order book. So it's a form of automated market making, but on a central limit order book, which almost seems like an oxymoron, right? But instead of just applying the x times y equals k model, which is very simplistic and capital inefficient, the idea is that the smart contracts on CosmWasm can market make directly on the injective order book protocol, using pooled and passive liquidity, right? But not following the simplistic formula, but a more sophisticated advanced formulas that take into account factors like historical volatility, the order book data, inventory risk and aversion, these sorts of more expressive parameters that can allow people to develop more complex models. And I think the general idea here is more similar to Yearn, where you have these different vaults that are created by the community, which pool together capital and deploy in these custom strategies, which can then generate yield, as well as back then also earn the native YFI governance token, right? So for us, it's a similar mechanic where you would earn trading rewards even just for natively trading. You would earn yield or returns from the actual strategy, and then if this protocol does have itself another governance token, then you may also earn these yield incentives from that native protocol. So we think that this is something that I'm very excited on because simply put, the biggest problem right now for liquidity is from the difficulty of active liquidity provision on a limit order book, right? If you're a normal person, non-technical, it's hard to run a bot yourself and provide liquidity, right? Whereas it's very easy for you to stake into an LP pool, right? Just a few clicks. So it's kind of bringing that one-click experience for providing liquidity, but on a limit order book. So that's the main, I guess, cornerstone application that we are working on. And beyond there, I think there's also many other applications that are, very immediately useful. One of them, as I described earlier this week, was on creating a backstop liquidity provider protocol for the insurance funds. Right now, the insurance funds are used, of course, to cover the difference when there are large price dislocations, which results in some highly levered positions going beyond bankrupt, and that negative equity has to be covered somewhere. And right now, it's being covered by the insurance fund, right? But there's no reason why these insurance funds have to be so passive when they're utilized, right? Imagine if the insurance fund, if there is a very big price dislocation, if it itself could provide liquidity to close out that high lever position at more favorable prices, right? I mean, this is exactly what, for example, FTX does with their own backstop liquidity provider. So it's almost like an RFQ process where if a position becomes is being liquidated, you can request a quote from these backstop liquidity providers for taking over that position, and then they'll respond with whatever their quote is, and then now the insurance fund has a way to protect itself from being overly utilized, right? So I think this will actually make insurance fund underwriting much more capital efficient and much less risky. So it'll be much more just up only rather than going down a lot. And yeah, I mean, besides that, they're smart contracts are generic platforms just for any kind of application, right? So building other things like borrow lend, prediction markets, structured products. So using the derivative positions in some composable way for, let's say, basis trading or to have some custom yield payoff. That's all within the realm, and that's also a very exciting opportunity for not just us but other developers to come in and build on our ecosystem. So we're really excited about that, and also then to interoperate with other protocols over IBC through the smart contracts, beyond just native token transfers, right? So really just tapping into this greater ecosystem of Cosmos. So that was a long answer, but hopefully I answered your question.
No, it was very comprehensive and helpful. Cool. Eric, I think we're getting some background noise from you.
Oh yeah, I was just going to chime in and say that on a high level, this is something extremely exciting for me personally and for, I would say, the entire Injective Labs team, because for the longest time and for the history of blockchain, the entire DeFi ecosystem and design has been mainly surrounding the constraints and restrictions of EVM. So there's data availability issues. There's also scalability issues and transaction speed issues that really kind of prevented an on-chain order book and all these kind of diverse order types to be accessible by smart contracts and other tools within the ecosystem. And really, I would say the sky is the limit from here on out to see where DeFi evolves overall with the availability of order book data, with the ability to manipulate these type of open orders and positions in a much more expressive liquidity form compared to AMM or any sort of Uniswap V3 style AMM models.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, that's very exciting in terms of smart contracts in general. I think shifting gears just a little bit, one core component of smart contracts or any other injective ecosystem dApp will be the native INJ token. I've noticed that on Telegram and Discord, there have been a lot of sort of questions and misconceptions about INJ burn mechanics and where the funds are coming for the incentives provided through Injective Astro. So it'd be good to clarify some of those details once and for all regarding deflation, staking inflation, etc.
Yeah, so basically for the Astro reward, it's coming from the ecosystem development pool. Basically, if some of the earlier members noticed from the Binance research, it was always allocated for that. So obviously there are no new inflation, and inflation is strictly being enforced by the staking reward on Injective chain. So that is the only source of possible inflation from the overall entire ecosystem. And staking rewards are generated based on obviously the number of INJ staked. So inflation is based on basically the total, not by the total supply, but rather by how much INJ are currently being staked, which if we go on Hub right now, we can see the total number. And so, for example, if only 100 INJ is being staked within the Injective chain, then only 5 new INJ will be minted for the entire year, since the APY is currently at 5%. And obviously, APY has a dynamic metric based on a Cosmos mechanism that's within more circulating INJ token within the Injective chain, the API will also be bumped up over time. So this is highly dependent on the economics of the overall chain's staking mechanism. So yeah, currently INJ is still highly deflationary.
Yeah, sounds good. And speaking of sort of the IBC connections that we were talking about a couple questions ago, I think we've integrated many different chains already using IBC, such as Terra and Osmosis should be coming out this week. Obviously, Cosmos is connected. What chains can we expect next? And how do these connections sort of help both the exchange ecosystem and the overall Injective community?
Yeah, I think generally Injective is creating this ecosystem where it's a go-to place for order book trading and DeFi application for Cosmos. Obviously, Injective is the only destination within a Cosmos ecosystem for derivatives and order book exchange. So currently, we're doing a lot of new IBC channel setup. I think Secret Network and a few others, just to name some. And so our goal is to be kind of the launchpad for all of Cosmos this year, and we'll certainly see a lot more major IBC-enabled chains integrated with Injective, and especially welcome the newly launched IBC-enabled chains as well.
Yeah, I guess going off of that question, when you think about the entire Cosmos ecosystem, there are many different sort of ecosystems and chains being developed. What sort of next steps for Injective in terms of integrating more with the Cosmos community and working alongside them?
Yeah, I mean, just to name a few, right? Obviously, this is more of case-by-case basis, but right now we've seen some of the issues with users or stakers on Osmosis suffering from IL. So we're looking into potentially set up a perpetual market so that different Osmosis stakers can also hedge their IL on Injective by going long on Injective. And another really interesting thing is that CosmWasm is kind of a cornerstone for interoperability with the greater Cosmos community, because it allows for autonomous agents or contracts being able to interact with each other and directly calling IBC transfer between these chains, and really having this instead of requiring community members to run a bot or basically set up like a consistent service, they can instead just deploy to a certain contract to be able to interop. And obviously, it's always a consistent effort to add more and more stable IBC bridges and listing more Cosmos-based tokens and assets that will lead to a much more cohesive IBC ecosystem within Injective. So obviously, a few of the more successful cases, well, the most recent successful case for Injective is that after adding the Terra assets to the exchange a few weeks ago, users can now trade and transfer UST onto Injective chain using the Terra Station wallet. And I think that's extremely exciting because obviously based on the usage metrics and volume, it has been basically the number 3 or number 4 top traded market within Injective.
Yeah, for sure. I think one sort of bottleneck that still precludes some users from accessing Injective and all of its functions has been sort of this inability to have sexes withdraw directly onto the Injective chain. So could you give some insight on that? For example, I know we've been talking to Binance for quite a while. When can users expect to withdraw assets directly onto their Injective wallets from sexes like Binance?
I think Injective Labs team have been providing a lot of technical support for the decentralized exchanges for withdrawing directly to Injective. So most of them have given us a kind of an ETA of this quarter for being able to support withdrawal feature and supporting Injective chain mainnet. But obviously, the Injective Labs team don't know the exact timeline on this because it's not all we can do is just support them to have them the best foothold in doing the integration.
Yeah, for sure. And I think another integration everyone's been sort of patiently waiting for has been the Chainlink Oracle integration. So right now, Injective is supported by the Band Oracle. Can we get some insight on what's actually going on behind the scenes with Chainlink and that integration, to be specific?
Yeah, Chainlink is definitely one of the most exciting integration for me personally, because I think Oracle diversity is very, very key for the Injective ecosystem, and especially Chainlink has such a long track record. It inspires a lot of confidence for the overall Injective community if Chainlink is the one providing the Oracle data for some of the perpetual markets. So right now, Chainlink OCR is working on a new standard for the overall IBC community, and we're working very closely with them on creating that standard. I think most of the work on our side is mainly done, and Chainlink on their end is trying to set up basically a more cohesive standard for a broader IBC support, and they're doing this with us and also Terra as well together. So it's basically kind of like a 1-for-2 deal. And yeah, like I would say that it's expected to come this quarter as well. It depends on like their technical progress and see whether they have some roadblocks that's unforeseen, but it's definitely something to look forward to this quarter.
Nice, super excited. So yeah, hopefully Binance and Chainlink this quarter. So yeah, I think now I've asked most of the sort of popular questions that I've personally seen within the community. So now I'd like to leave the space open for any community member right now to come up and ask their own questions. All you have to do is click the button that says raise hand, and we can invite you up to speak or ask your question. Yeah, and also if they're okay, cool. Yeah, Garv, great to see you here. I think you're on mute.
Thank you for having me. It was amazing to hear you guys out. I'm quite looking forward to 2022 and Injective's updates because I've been following it for a very long time now. I have a question in terms of the derivative markets and perpetuals that we were currently talking about. So, one of the biggest, as Eric mentioned, one of the biggest highlights for 2021 was integrating with Terra community, and how it has also been one of the reasons why we were able to achieve the trading volume, the milestone, which is great. Many congratulations to Injective Lab on that. But um, like what I've been able to understand is, and after doing the research, is that right now derivatives market is still a big hush hush topic, or many people are still very reluctant to talk about it in terms of development, and people are not like derivative ecosystems or projects are not able to gather or capture that big of a market. So, what might you think might be the reason for that? What is holding derivative market back to come to crypto? Because being a quadrillion-dollar market cap overall, if we can get even 5 to 10%, like let's start with even 1% of it coming to the blockchain industry, so that would be great to have. And just the other thing is, can we use the UST in the future to trade derivative market or injective? But why would people do that on injective compared to that on Mirror protocol, which they have already on, Terra ecosystem? So these are my two questions.
Yeah, I think for the first part you're mentioning about not just crypto derivative and also the general derivative market, for example, for commodity futures and so forth, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, and the reason for that is quite simple, actually. It's because the general traditional, CME traders and also institutions onboarded with trading directly with the CME who might have gotten a chair or in any type of global derivative market are generally institutions that doesn't have a strong overlap with the greater crypto market at the moment, at least. Trading teams that are working on treasury futures or commodity futures aren't necessarily also working on the crypto market. So it's definitely a slow growth process in the sense that it requires an underlying greater adoption within crypto. And then from that point on, it will also embody as a greater adoption within the derivatives market for more traditional futures and swaps and other instruments as well. And obviously, from an Injective perspective, Injective started off as kind of a blockchain that's focused on derivatives exchange. And one of the most exciting part about this CosmWasm upgrade is that it will very soon be much more than that. The derivatives exchange and also the order book layer will, in some sense, become just one of the dApps. And overall, the entire Injective ecosystem will be centered around this order book infrastructure. But we are actually becoming a specialized blockchain optimized for DeFi applications in general that can, utilize or take advantage of this order book infrastructure. So I would say that there's a lot more flexibility beyond just focusing on, traditional financial instruments. And maybe venture a little bit into, let's say, GameFi, venture a little bit into different types of other instruments as well during this after this CosmWasm integration. And on the second part is obviously for Terra market itself, it doesn't have a derivative market, that's denominated in UST as a quote asset. So I think that's why it has a lot of traction on that front, because Injective being the only large avenue for UST Luna perp is certainly a very strong attraction for a lot of the lunatics.
Yeah, I would also say that you can trade with much higher leverage, right? The capital requirements, it's more capital efficient to trade, to have 10x exposure on a synthetic asset on Injective rather than, I think on Mirror, there's a quite high collateral ratio, as well as even when you mint, there's like minting fees. So the fees are also much greater, right? And I haven't looked into much very deeply recently, but the premiums, so the difference between like the price of the actual asset that you're getting from the pool versus the underlying index price seems to be dislocated much greater than they are, on Injective, which has, through the funding rates, this mechanism to allow the price of the actual asset to mirror, or not mirror, but to match, I guess, the price of the underlying.
No, makes sense. Thank you for answering that, because I personally believe that once anyone like in crypto blockchain industry could hack the derivative market, that or issue as many synthetic assets on their platform, that'll be a big win, because only a handful of the other projects are doing that, like perp and all. But yes, looking forward to what Injective does. That's it from my side. I'll just like you can put me back to listeners and
Cool. So do we have more questions? I think someone else raised their hand.
Yeah, I have a question. Can you hear me correctly?
Yeah.
Okay, so I heard today's space, and I want to thank you for giving us more details about Injective and Injective blockchain. For me personally, my question is mostly related regarding internship openings because unfortunately I don't see a lot of openings in this space, and I want to ask you either Mirza or Eric if there is any opening for a digital marketing internship at Injective. So I'm sorry if I take this space for that, but it's a way to
No,
have a direct answer.
yeah, it's always good. Yeah, we actually do hire interns across the board, and also full-time employees all the time. Even if you don't see something listed under our official job postings, you can always reach out at contact@injectivelabs.org and reach out about any sort of internship inquiry. Yeah, if you want to chat about a marketing internship in particular, we can chat after this call. You can just send an email to the contact email I just said, and yeah, we could chat.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I will send you an email just after this space. And thank you again for giving more detail about Injective today.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, if anyone else wanted to ask any kind of question, it'd be great if you want to come up as a speaker. I also see Karan in this chat, who's the CEO of Picasso. If Karan, you wanted to come up and say something, it'd also be cool. All you have to do, guys, is click the button that says raise hand and we can invite you up to speak. Otherwise, we can, yeah, okay, cool. Hey, Andrew.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to say that I'm really impressed by all the progress you've made so far. I've been watching your journey for a while. I have a really brief question. I'm a digital marketer. I was wondering if there's any affiliate program. I do a lot of affiliate lead generation as I want to route as much traffic as possible to Injective protocol.
Yeah, we actually do have a referral program coming out, which will serve as sort of an affiliate program. It should be out in the next week or two at the current rates. I can keep you posted on when it's live, and all you have to do is have the link, and it'll work as very similarly to other affiliate programs out there. Yeah, we should touch base afterwards if you're interested in that.
Awesome, that sounds great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Sounds good. Well, if there are no other major questions, we can start to wrap it up. So yeah, appreciate everyone. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, appreciate everyone coming, and yeah, looking forward to the next community call. And obviously, if you guys ever have any questions that weren't answered here or you want more clarification on, just join our Telegram or our Discord and feel free to ask any question you want. We're there literally 24/7.
or I'll just tag everyone on Injective and just ask that on Twitter. Hopefully,
Yeah.
I can get a reply.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but really,
Yeah.
guys, you guys are doing an amazing job. Literally, I covered what 2021 did for Injective. So, again, great milestone. Looking forward to 2022. The article that you guys provided on, like, I know you guys are about to wrap up, but just wanted to ask you the article that you provided on your Twitter platform for 2022. It was like for extra liquidity and what you're planning to do. So, is there any in-depth what do you say, 2022 roadmap coming out anytime soon?
Yeah, so we've actually been thinking about it within the internal team, the labs team. So we are actually thinking about creating an open sort of Notion page where you can see sort of current tasks or overall tasks that we're working towards and what phase we are at with those tasks. So yeah, we will probably publish that in before the end of the month. So yeah, good question actually.
That'll be cool. That'll be really cool. Like it would be something like a game. Like okay, it's loading up, and then every level you pass, that gets completed. That's cool, man.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds good. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And yeah, looking forward to connecting again soon.
Thanks, guys. See you.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Bye.